negotiation strategies and staging tips to financing options and home inspections. This fast-paced, ever-evolving market doesn't have to be overwhelming. We are here to guide you through it. Today's show is brought to you by TrustedAgentUSA.com. Get your market value, explore your selling options, and choose your closing date. Go to TrustedAgentUSA.com and do real estate your way. You've got options. Licensed in Illinois. Number 475-145-795. Now, let's dive in. Here's Larry. Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Show, your ultimate guide to everything real estate. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned investor, or thinking about selling, we have the insights you need. Your host, Larry Shakman, the real estate therapist and a top-producing broker, will break it down weekly. We'll dive deep into market trends and speak with industry pros about everything from pricing and negotiation strategies and staging tips to financing options and home inspections. This fast-paced, ever-evolving market doesn't have to be overwhelming. We are here to guide you through it. Today's show is brought to you by TrustedAgentUSA.com. Get your market value, explore your selling options, and choose your closing date. Go to TrustedAgentUSA.com and do real estate your way. You've got options. Licensed in Illinois. Number 475-145-795. Now, let's dive in. Here's Larry.
All right, everybody, we are back and we're happy to have you in our new time slot on Thursday at 11:30. So every Thursday at 11:30 moving forward, you can catch the Real Estate Radio Show on LinkedIn, YouTube, and on Facebook. So also wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you're going to be able to catch us too. So check us out. We have a lot of great content coming up. Got a great guest today, and we have great weather. Great weather because we're going all the way out to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, a place near and dear to my heart. I've probably been there 10 times. And we're going to be meeting with Paul Trimmer. Paul is a top producing agent and transplanted New Zealander who moved to Puerto Vallarta. And now he is the founder of Paul Trimmer Real Estate. So Paul's going to fill us in on everything going on in the real estate market in Puerto Vallarta, a tropical paradise. If you guys have never been there, you should check it out. It's amazing. And Paul will tell us a little bit about the lifestyle and everything else you can expect to, experience there when you go to Puerto Vallarta. So before I get into that though, and we'll take a quick 30-second break after this and then bring Paul on. Before we bring Paul on, here in the Chicago metro market, everybody keeps asking me, what's the market like? What exactly is going on with this market? Is this a good time to sell? Is my value still up? Here's what I'm going to tell you. So MRED, which is the Midwest Real Estate Data MLS, which covers the entire Chicago metropolitan area. That's our MLS here. And so they just came out with a stat recently, a couple days ago, last week, 2,964 residential contracts were executed. And in this time, executed is a good thing, right? Because that means 2,964 people went under contract buying a home. There's steps after you sign that contract, home inspection and such. So 2,964 properties went under contract last week. That is the largest number of contracts that went under contract in a single week since August. And that's actually a 13% week over week increase and a 34% year over year increase. So the bottom line is, if you market your home right, and I'm sure Paul's going to agree with me on this, if you price your home right, if you market your home right, it's still a super, super hot market. There are some price ranges that have slipped into more of a buyer's market. However, it really doesn't matter what condition your property's in, where it's located, or anything else. It's just a matter of pricing it right, marketing it right, and working with the right agent. So yeah, it's a hot market. It's still a good time to sell, 100%. And so keep that in mind. We'll see what Paul says about the PV market, if that's the same thing. We're going to take a 30-second break. We're going to come back with Paul Trimmer of Paul Trimmer Real Estate in Puerto Vallarta.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio, sponsored in part by TrustedAgentUSA.com, the ultimate real estate matchmaker, saving you thousands. Now back to Larry, the real estate therapist. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio, sponsored in part by Trusted Agent.
All right, everybody, we are back, and we are here with Paul Trimmer. Hey, Paul, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing awesome. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are. I know you're sitting in better weather than I am right now, right?
I am. Though it's still humid here. It's very humid here in the summers.
What's that?
It's very humid here in the summers. Have you been to Puerto Vallarta in the summer?
I've been at the tail end of the summer, which is, I know, your rainy season, right? And but yeah, it's like super hot and humid and rainy at that time. It's still a great time to be there, right?
It's a fantastic. It's quiet. The water's super warm. There's nothing better than a margarita on the beach at this time of year.
Man, you're bringing back great memories for me, man. I remember sitting out there at the right on the bay, and there's a restaurant called the Blue. God, I can't think of the name. The Blue Crab, I think it's called.
Yeah.
The Blue. Is it the Blue Shrimp?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. I used to sit out there all the time, man. I would go out there because we stayed at a condo not far from there. So we would literally just walk there and sit out with some chips and guac and margaritas, looking at the bay, and just amazing. Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about how did you end up in Puerto Vallarta? I mean, you're from New Zealand. What do they call New Zealanders?
Kiwis.
Kiwis. Thank you. Okay. So you're a Kiwi, transplanted to Puerto Vallarta.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did what I would recommend people don't do, is I flew in and stayed. I packed up everything and moved here. I always recommend people should come and vacation here a couple of times, maybe for a couple of years before they purchase real estate or they move here. But I was in love with a Mexican in New Zealand, and I was doing real estate there, but I was a little bit, bored. I'd been in New Zealand for a long time. And my partner at the time was a doctor, but couldn't be a doctor in New Zealand. So we decided, well, let's go to Mexico. I can sell real estate speaking mostly English in Puerto Vallarta, and packed the bags and went. I wanted to do something exciting and different, and so therefore let's move to Mexico, and came here, and it was right at the beginning of COVID, and it just clicked. It was
around March of 2020.
It was. I think I came in July 2020.
Okay, so yeah, right in the thick of it.
Yeah. And it was a great time to be, the market took off, great time to start real estate here. And I never looked back.
Yeah. No, now what made you choose PV as opposed to maybe Cabo or some other place?
Well, my partner at the time, their family had a beach house here. So, so there was family already here. That was really a lot of it was luck. I mean, I could have gone to Cabo or anywhere. I wouldn't have known any different. But but because there was family here. Having now lived here, I can see the benefits of PV over a lot of other places around Mexico. But really, it was just luck. There was no real thought process. I just wanted
No master plan.
No massive plan, and I kind of fell on my feet, thankfully.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, I hand it to you because that's a huge move. And, it takes a lot of confidence and to move into a brand new market and start a new real estate business. I mean, that's a huge move. So that's a big deal. I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
So you're in PV now. You moved from New Zealand. When you first got there, how did you like dig in and get some traction in that market, having moved there from New Zealand?
Well, I spent my early 20s as an actor, so I was reasonably comfortable on screen. So I started doing videos. In New Zealand, all real estate agents do videos of their listings. When I came here, there really wasn't anyone doing it. So the first, I got my first listing. I did a video. I did a video on the beach talking about giving information to buyers on what it's like and things. And they did really well. Those videos did really well. Now every agent in town does videos. But that personally helped me right at the beginning. And then also a lot of the agents here, it's their part-time job. What do you do in retirement? You move to Puerto Vallarta and, let's sell a little bit of real estate on the side. And this was my career. So I was not having margaritas at 2 p.m. in the afternoon on the beach. I was hustling and working and replying to people and all of that. So very quickly, I did real estate in New Zealand. It was a lot harder for me to get established there than here. And I think it came down to just being really quick at responding and taking my job really seriously.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what separates agents. All agents are not created alike. And there's a lot of part-time agents here in the States and in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta and everywhere else. There's a lot of people that do real estate part-time and might be doing something else. I'm full-time. I've been full-time for 24 years and you're full-time. But it's a tough business to make a living in. And I think a lot of people, they get into it to supplement their income because you can do well with just a couple sales every year.
Well, I find there's a lot of complexities to Mexican real estate, and another thing we deal with is we're dealing with two cultures. The American Canadian buyer has a way of seeing the world, and the Mexican seller has a way of seeing the world. And so we're kind of balancing these two cultures. So there's more craft from selling real estate here, I think, than when I was back in New Zealand.
Oh, you're in an international market. So yeah.
And so the more transactions you're doing in a year, you get to, you can see the red flags, or you know what you're dealing with. But when you're a part-time agent doing 3 sales a year, 4 sales a year, you're not really skilled up on the changes and stuff like that. So for me, like I think if you're going to be a full-time agent really going for it, it actually becomes easier because you're skilled up on all the changes, and you're living and breathing.
I think like with anything, like if you're a golfer and you golf, 5 times a week, or if you're a baseball player and you're playing 3 or 4 times a week, you get that muscle memory where you're not really thinking about it anymore. You're just doing it. And it's the same thing, I think, with what you're talking about, Paul. When you're in real estate and you're transacting every day and you're dealing with sellers and buyers and investors every day, which I'm sure you deal with in PV, a lot of investors that come there and look for condos they can Airbnb, they can, do other things with. Give our listeners a little insight into what the lifestyle of PV is. Like, give them the layout of PV. Like, we know there's the marina area out by the airport. We know there's the Romantica zone. Give them a little taste of what they can expect in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we're a big bay. We're a massive bay here. And we've got a very well-connected international airport. And that airport lands right next door to Marina Vallarta. And so what I love about this whole bay is there are so many different little towns that have completely different vibes. So you've got Marina Vallarta that has a golf course, that has the marina. It's very, very clean, kind of quite Americanized. There's a Starbucks there. And then you've got the hotel zone, which is the really big high rises right on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more resort type living. And there's hotels, but there's also condo buildings, but they're 30, 25 story high type buildings. And then you start going into Old Town, which is Cinco de Sembre, Centro, and the Romantic Zone. The Romantic Zone is really the number one rental destination in PV, but you know, and that's an old classic part of PV.
Amazing,
and that's, I think, where you're talking about. You go a lot, and so great restaurants, cafes, the beach clubs. It's quite a small area, but very compact. A lot of people go there. And then as that's grown too big, people are now going to other parts of Old Town. So Centro is a very historic part of town. They don't have high rises there. They have really beautiful hacienda type houses.
Is that where you go back into the hills a little bit from the Romantica zone?
To one side. You might be thinking of Conchas Chinas because that's a different place.
Okay.
But, so if you go from the Romantic Zone towards the airport, but just across the bridge,
okay,
that's Centro. That's where Elizabeth Taylor had her house.
Yeah.
It's very classic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next neighborhood is Cinco de Sembre. That's, over the last couple of years has taken off. As the Romantic Zone prices have gone up a lot, people have started going there.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then you've got Conchas Chinas, which is a really hacienda classic Puerto Vallarta type neighborhood as well. Very clean, very fancy, expensive, but in that old Mexican style house, and then you've got the hills around the Romantic Zone, like Amapas and Alta Vista. People like that because they like quick access into the Romantic Zone for the restaurants and beach clubs, etc. But they actually like to get away from the tourists and the noise and all of that. So if people are coming to live here and they're going to have a car, or you don't even need a car, but you would often go up the hills around the Romantic Zone. You'd have the ocean views, and then 3 or 4 minutes into the Romantic Zone.
Yeah, it's a great area, and like you said, there's just so much. There's a lot of different areas. Like Bucieres is how far?
Yeah, so I mean, I've just probably talked about 1/3 of PV. So from the Romantic Zone south, there's a whole South Shore. There's Miss Maloya, Boca, beachfront condos all along that coast. Then if you go north of the marina, then you go to Nueva Vallarta, Bucieres, La Cruz. You can keep on going to Punta Mita, which has got the Four Seasons, very like $10, $15 million mansions. And then Sayulita and San Pancho. So Sayulita is a very chic, hippie kind of bohemian style place, surfy kind of vibe. So they're all every little place along the beach has a completely different vibe. And so often, so when buyers say, I want to come and buy something, but they've never been, I say, before we even meet, rent a car and go and have a look, because at all of these different places, because normally you arrive to one and you go, this is
beautiful.
This is for me,
for
whatever the reasons. It could be the cleanliness of the Marina Vallarta. It could be the high rises of the hotel zone that gives you that resort feeling. It could be the exclusive golf course of Nueva Vallarta that has sort of the country club feel. It could be that hippie, surfy, just going with the flow of life in Sayulita. And when you arrive there to that neighborhood that's for you, you go, yeah, this is it. Then we start looking at real estate in that neighborhood.
And it's hard over there because literally every neighborhood, I guarantee every neighborhood, every area you look at, you're going to find something you love about it. It's hard not to love all of these areas.
Yeah.
When me and my wife were there not long ago, we went on this little day trip, little expedition to this old silver mining town where we passed by Liz and Dick's first, big home they had out there, and they were redoing it. And the driver got us in. We were the only ones in there at the time. And it was just amazing. It was like walking back into time. Their pictures were still on the wall. And I don't know if you know the name of that town, but it's a silver mining town about 2 hours out.
So you think of San Sebastian?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
San Sebastian. And I encourage everybody, if you're in PV, take that day trip. It's amazing. You're going to go by tequila factories. You're going to stop and have some tequila. You're going to just see the amazing countryside that is just, not to be believed over there.
Yeah. And in San Sebastian's now becoming popular so for people that live in PV that want a little country home, they'll have a little country home. And so it's inland. So it's not by the beach. It's up in the hills. It's cooler. So, in the summer, people might escape to their country home for a slightly cooler.
Yeah,
and
I loved it.
El Torito down south is also another like little place where people have their country homes. So wherever you live in PV, when you have visitors come to stay, so if you live in the romantic zone, your visitors come stay, or you just want a little day trip or a weekend trip, going to San Pancho or Sayulita for the day, or taking visitors there. I mean, it's so easy to get there, and it's a whole different experience.
Yeah. It's just, I love PV so much because of the community, the people there. Everybody is welcome. Everybody is just beautiful people. And I'll tell you something else. The restaurants there, some of the best food you will find anywhere, and you will not believe what you'll get a 5-star dinner for, with like top of the line cocktails and just amazing stuff. I'll never forget when I first started going there, I was like, really? That's all this is? That's because literally you go buy a meal like that in downtown Chicago, you're paying hundreds of dollars, 100% for that kind of service, drinks, food, presentation, the whole shot. You're paying hundreds of dollars for a party of 4. Here, you walk in and out for like $150 for 4 people, and like drinks and right.
Yeah. Yep.
What's some of your favorite restaurants in PV?
I like La Fina, which has just been around a couple of years. It's behind the romantic zone in kind of what was just like a Mexican neighborhood, family neighborhood, just behind. But that, I've taken people there and they've said they think that's the best restaurant in PV. That is one I always go to. A little place called Napoli Pizza. It's just by the river, just on the other side of the river from the romantic zone. Okay. It doesn't look like much, but the pizzas are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you're talking to a Chicago boy here, so pizza's our thing.
Yeah. Those are my 2 favorite.
What's the one that we took a cab up out of PV, took about 30 minutes to get there. It's up in the hills, and you sit outside and you're looking down on the bay, and it's a really great restaurant. They had like a bunch of like little dogs running around because they raised dogs there too. They were raising some type of breed there, little cute little dogs. But it was just such a unique experience, and the views were amazing. I mean, I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but it's a well-known restaurant out there.
I can't think of. Was it on the beach?
No, it wasn't on the beach.
Was it in Conchas Chinas? But they don't do dog. They don't have dogs. I
Yeah.
think I know the one you're meaning. I've never been there, and I have a feeling they've shut it down. I haven't seen.
Oh, really?
There, yeah.
So this is something I wanted to talk to you about, because there's two seasons really in PV, right? There's the rainy season, and then you guys are right now headed into your busy season where it gets crazy. And all the businesses are open and all kinds of things are going on. Talk to us a little bit about how that changes in the rainy season. Do some businesses shut down for the rainy season, or how does that look?
So it definitely gets quieter. So the expats that come here to escape the cold, when the humidity comes, that they head back for the summer up north. So it gets quieter. Locals and expats that live here full time actually like the change that the summer brings. You know, a quieter town. There's like there's a breathing space about it. The mountains get greener again.
Yeah.
So there is a nice, there's a nice thing about the summer. But the restaurants do get quiet. There's a good thing about it. You don't have to book. You just kind of turn on up to your favorite restaurants. September, I would say, is the month where the restaurants shut down and let their staff have a month off. So September is, not the greatest month for tourists to come, because not everything's open.
But it's great for locals.
Great for locals. And without all the tourists in town, the families that actually work in the restaurants and, taking care of the tourists in high season, they relax. They're with family on the beach, having some beers, and it's a nice vibe. It's a really nice vibe. Yeah. Different. And then I love the winter. We're coming into the winter. The humidity goes, the blue sky comes.
Yeah.
And obviously every year is slightly different, but in general, it's 6 months of blue sky, the perfect temperature.
Yeah.
And a lovely energy, because everyone's come back to town and they all love the weather as well and what PV has to offer. So there's a really nice vibe in town.
Yeah, the winter in PV is just, I mean, every day you wake up to just gorgeous blue skies, 85 degrees, no humidity, and you're right there on the bay. And what's the name of the bay out there for everybody?
Bay de Banderas.
Banderas Bay, yeah. And it's a beautiful bay. And I'll tell you though, if you go in the summertime during the rainy season, you will see some amazing storms. If you like thunderstorms, man, this is the place to be, because you'll see some good ones.
And in the romantic zone, when the rains come, the streets become rivers. Have you seen that?
Yes.
They literally become,
Yeah.
And that's what they're designed for. They're cobbled streets that they become rivers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I will say their infrastructure has gotten a lot better over the years there. It really has. And we can talk a little bit about how things have changed in the last 20 years or so since I've been going there, which is like immense. So let's just talk about the changes that have gone on in PV just since you've been there for the last, going on 5 years now.
Yeah. Well, it's the new buildings. It's crazy. COVID, because Mexico was so relaxed during COVID and allowed people to come, it brought a lot of digital nomads. So people that were earning their New York City salary, they rented out their place, and because they were working from home, they came down here, still doing their job, still earning that money, paying Mexico prices, and it was a no-brainer, right? So it brought a lot of people during COVID. And so people wanted to buy, prices went up, developers saw the opportunity, and started developing a lot more buildings. Also, the romantic zone is quite a gay friendly neighborhood, and that it's always been that, but I think it's even more so now since COVID. It's a worldwide international destination.
Yeah.
For that. So that has also brought a lot of people to buy here. So yeah, a lot of new construction. A lot.
You know that old building in right in the Romantica zone that stood forever, like half finished. You know the one I'm talking about? Have they done anything with that?
They have. That's in construction at the moment. They're building a building there.
Yeah, because that thing stood there forever. And every time I passed by, I was like, someone's got to do something with this thing. But you never know what's going on behind the scenes and why it's sitting there, right? And all that. And there was another one, this just beautiful building that sat for years that hadn't sold because she was asking too much money. She wouldn't come off of her price. But you walk in it and there were just rooms. I mean, it would have made just the most amazing high-end spa. That's what I thought when because I went and toured it with a realtor there when I was there a few years ago. I don't know if it hasn't been developed or not, if it has been developed or not. But I mean, this place, when you walked in, it had a huge courtyard, 3 stories, rooms all around it. I mean, there's so much you could have done with this. Wow. But she was like, she didn't need the money. She wasn't coming off her price. And it's like, all right, well, yeah. But it's probably been developed by now. They used to have this, when we first started going there, before we, were staying at the condo and all that, we stayed at a little boutique hotel called Posada de Roger. You familiar with it?
I'm not.
It's just a little boutique hotel. Really nice, though. Super clean. That's the other thing. All these little boutique motels around there, very clean. Great service. I mean, just outstanding. And, but yeah, we stayed there, and right across the street from it, they had a cat rescue place that I used to grab a cup of coffee at and go over there every morning. And I'd go into a cage with about 70 cats. And I love cats, so I was in heaven. And that's the other thing about PV. If you walk the river and just walk down the river, you're going to see a lot of stray cats, and they'll come up to you for food and all that, right? But it's such a great vibe in PV. It really is. I just love it. It's just amazing. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some listings you got. What's going on in your world, your real estate world?
Okay, cool. So I've got a few nice listings at the moment. I've got one coming, an absolute beachfront. It's about 15 minutes south of the romantic zone, a 3-bedroom, fully renovated condo on the beach, beautiful beach to walk out onto. That is going to be around the $740,000 US. That's a great opportunity. In the romantic zone, I've got on the edge of the romantic zone at the bottom of Alta Vista. So a lovely, quiet location, but views out over the city to the ocean, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a car park, beautiful rooftop swimming pool, gym. That's $549,000
How many bedrooms was that?
There was a 2-bed, 2-bath.
Wow,
so that's an ideal place if you're wanting to live. You could live there, you could rent it out, it could be a vacation home. That's a really cool property. And then closer to the beach, I've got a 2-bed, 2-bath for $784,000. That's right, that's a block and a half from the beach. Lovely big patio, big kitchen, condo. And then a new investment studio in Versailles. Versailles is a great neighborhood as well. That's really booming. It's up and coming.
Where's that in relation to the Romantica zone?
So it's about a 10-minute drive, and it's right behind the hotel zone. So,
okay,
up until recently, everyone's always gone to the romantic zone for a great dinner. People are now going to Versailles for a great dinner, even from the romantic zone. Oh, let's go to Versailles for a dinner. So that's a cool neighborhood, and I've got a studio there available. A studio, newish building. It's like 1 or 2 year old building. Great rooftop. From the rooftop pool, you got views out to the ocean. That's 189,000.
I saw that one on your website, and I want to give everybody your website. It's paultrimmerrealestate.com. paultrimmerrealestate.com, spelled TRIMMER, realestate.com. And you can go there and really connect with Paul and also get a feel for that PV lifestyle. The picture, this is Paul, what you're seeing right now on the screen, if you're watching this and not listening, is that's just a little slice of the beach right off of the bay here with the, what do you call that thing right there in the middle?
That's the pier or the sail.
Yeah. And that's amazing. That thing lights up purple at night. It's an amazing look at night. But this is Banderas Bay and the beach right off of Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, that's the romantic zone. I love that image. That all of what you see in there is my favorite part of, for me. You know,
that's where we stayed. That's where we stay, right there, because I mean, from there you can really get anywhere. You could be in Nuevo in not that long. You could go to the zoo. You can go to the botanical gardens, which is amazing. It's a world-class botanical garden. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the botanical gardens, it's pretty impressive. You can get a bus from the romantic zone out there. And it's a fantastic restaurant. It's a day trip.
Yeah.
A really nice day trip.
I'm glad you brought up the restaurant at the Botanical Garden, because that is an amazing restaurant. You know, you go to a lot of places like that, and the food they have there is kind of like just, it's complimentary to the experience. The restaurant at the Botanical Garden is like a major part of that. I mean, the food is amazing, the drinks are amazing, and the views, you're sitting in like the jungle and looking out at the jungle when you're sitting there eating, and it's a great vibe. It's so relaxing.
You can take your swimsuit as well, because there's a river there. Have you ever been swimming in the river?
I haven't. I'll have to try that next time, but no, I haven't.
Just one other thing on my listings. I can't talk too much about it yet, but I've got a development coming in the marina.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And so that's going to be launched in the next month or so. But that's you got 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. It's in the marina, but it's on the golf course. So for people that love playing golf, wanting to be in a really safe, clean, tidy neighborhood, couple of minutes from an international airport. You're going to have rooftop pools. You're going to have a gym. You're going to have a pickleball court. It's really, they're really going for sustainability and efficiency of energy and stuff. Some really unique things about this development. So
can you say the name of the development?
They're still finalizing that.
Okay. And how many units are there going to be?
So there's going to be 2 towers, in total 127 units.
Okay, awesome.
It's going to be really beautiful.
Price points?
So the 1 bedrooms are around the $350 US mark, and the 2 bedrooms are from sort of $650 to $750, and then the 3 bedrooms penthouses are around the $900,000 to $1 million.
Okay, so that's the thing about PV too, because 20 years ago, if you would have bought in PV 20 years ago, you'd be smiling like Paul is right now, because prices have gone up because demand has gone up. Yeah. So, the demand in PV now is amazing. Paul brought something up about the international feel of PV, and, expats are huge there. Obviously, people from the States buy condos there, buy homes there. But Canadians are huge they buy a lot of property in PV. So yeah, it's a very international feel, and it's a great area. But yeah, 20 years ago, it was a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 years ago, it was a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
COVID really put us on the map even more so, in the demand and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you first got there, you did not, it wasn't Paul Trimmer Real Estate. You were working for another brokerage, and then you went off and formed Paul Trimmer Real Estate. So when did you do that? And what are the advantages of doing that for you?
Well, I was with Timothy Real Estate Group for the first 2 years of life here in PV. And then I went off on my own. It was just a personal career goal for me, really. I was at the age where I thought now is the time to do it if I want to do it, and why not? And I felt that I had the right team of lawyers and assistants and around me, right networking and with other, had a good relationship with people in the industry. So I thought, why not? Let's do it. And I've never looked back.
So in those first two years, you were building kind of your own ecosystem of partners and getting a feel for who you're comfortable working with. And now you have a team of people that can assist all of your clients.
Yeah, I'm generally the agent, but I have my lawyers that deal with what they do, and then an assistant that deals with a lot of the paperwork from when we go under contract and we move through the contingencies from that point through to closing. She takes care of a lot of the administration side of things.
Yeah. So a friend of mine from high school, believe it or not, Bill McCauley, he actually relocated to Thailand, which is probably a similar, I don't know, I'm taking a wild guess here, which is probably a similar type of the weather pattern, let's say.
Right.
I've seen some amazing pictures Bill has posted, right, where he lives, and it's just amazing, like PV. But yeah, so that sounds exciting, though. The development you're doing, that sounds like an amazing opportunity for you and for everybody else looking to purchase and either move to or get a second home that you can Airbnb in PV.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm super excited, really
Yeah.
excited. It's going to be beautiful.
How'd you land that? Just somebody that you ran into, day-to-day business?
No, it's my ex-partner's family's development.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I know the family very well, very, very, yeah, I know them well and I trust them, and I think they know how to do something really well. So I'm right behind them.
Yeah, and it's different doing that kind of thing in PV, obviously, or in Mexico, than if you have a development in the States, or real estate is local, obviously, no matter where you are. But you definitely want to hook up with an agent like Paul if you're planning on buying a second home, a condo to stay at, something like that. You want to hook up with somebody that really knows that community and can help you, and has a team of people behind him that can also help you, because it can be confusing. It's completely different than in the States.
It is. It's you definitely want a good experienced agent when you're buying in any other country, because we don't know. When we live in our own country, we kind of know what's going on. But when you're buying in a different, I just purchased in Spain, and of course, I wasn't trying to be cheeky and miss out, buy direct. I wanted an agent. I wanted a good lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
And to feel completely comfortable in what I was doing.
Yeah. What'd you buy in Spain?
A condo.
Nice. One bedroom or?
A one bedroom. Yeah.
Nice.
A little place called Sitges, just outside of Barcelona.
So I had a friend that went to Spain. This is a while ago. He fell in love with it. he absolutely fell in love with Spain and the people there and the lifestyle, everything else. He absolutely loved it. What do you like about it?
I like, well, for me, when I moved here in July 2020, and again, just I rocked up with my bags. It was humid season, and I liked it. Everything was great. But then when November came around and the humidity went away, that's when I went, oh my God, I love this place. And so then when I really got established in real estate and decided this is the place for me, I thought I would, in real estate, you never really turn off. You're constantly working. You're always, especially when you run your own business, your to-do list it's always
it
there.
never ends.
It never ends. So I thought, well, to do this sustainably over the next 30 years, living here and running a real estate business, I really need to complement that and to be able to leave and have a vacation elsewhere. And where would that place be? It's hot in Spain at that time of the year in the summer as well, but it's not humid. And it's also full of lots of people. So because it's their summer. So I chose Sitges because it's a quieter kind of fishing village, but it's 35 minutes from Barcelona, which is an
awesome.
airport. And of course, I have a little dog, so I need to take my dog. So I worked out where can I fly with my dog easily, and Barcelona was sort of made sense. So, and I went there and of course fell in love with it. And not that I'm going to spend much time there, but a couple of weeks every summer to just, and I still work while I'm there. But there is a different, being in a different place, different outlook. Even if I'm doing
when do you go there in September?
It's a August, September type thing, somewhere around there.
Yeah. And then on the off months when you're not there, do you Airbnb it?
It gets rented out in the winter.
Yeah, makes sense. Hey, well, it has been awesome talking to you and catching up. I love PV, so anytime I can get close to PV virtually or actually, I'm all there. Anything you want to leave our listeners with in terms of PV, why it's a great place, and how do they get in touch with you?
Well, have a look at some of if you wanted to learn more about the advantages of PV, on my website, I've got a blog area. And so I've done some articles on all of that sort of thing about PV. But in terms of, if someone's thinking of buying, maybe buying or PV, it's worth joining my newsletter. So every Tuesday I send out a newsletter that has a bit of market commentary, all the new developments, new listings in price bracket and neighborhood. So it's a nice, easy way in to getting familiar with prices, neighborhoods. There's articles in there. There's market statistics. There is links to educational videos for buying. So it's a nice way to start. And then keeping an eye on that, if you over time to when you're ready to buy, then you're going to be quite skilled up on the market here.
Yeah,
so
you'll be familiar with it.
Yeah, so the newsletter, you can join up to that on my newsletter, on my website. You'll see there's plenty of places where you just put your email address. You can unsubscribe if you decide PV is not for you. Then I have a YouTube channel, Paul Trimmer Real Estate Agency. Lots of educational videos on there about buying. Most questions would be answered, including residency. I interview a residency lawyer, property management company, things like that. So that has a lot of information on. And then just, I've got my Instagram, Facebook, etc. And if anyone is sort of wanting to look into the buying here, I'm happy to have a Zoom call with them to talk that over, answer their questions.
Yeah.
What I would say is, and this is not every real estate agent would say this, is if you're looking for just an investment where the bottom line is important, like your return, but you have no connection to PV, I don't really recommend necessarily buying in PV as just an investment. I think it's better to buy a rental property around the corner from where you already live, or put your money into the S&P 500. If you love PV, or you grow to love PV, you're looking for the PV lifestyle, and you want to diversify your money into a different country, or you want to rent it out and make some money, that works. But it works when you also love PV and you're going to come and use your place. Yeah. So that's just one thing I would say. And not everyone would say that, but I think that's important. I've noticed over the last 4 years, the people that just buy because of solely investment, it's not as much fun as if you already love PV. You love coming here. And
I think that's good advice. Invest in places you love.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee if you go to PV, you're going to fall in love with it. It's just an amazing, amazing place. Remember, if you guys want to get in touch with Paul, go to his website, paultrimmerrealestate.com. He has his phone number, everything there you need. You can sign up for his newsletter. You can read his blog, and it'll really get you familiar with PV. And personally, I don't think there's a better place on earth than PV. I love it. I love it. I really do. Paul, it's been awesome chatting with you today. We'll have you back again sometime in the future, and have yourself a great day.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, bud. I'll see you.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That was our friend Paul Trimmer. Paul's just an amazing guy. Made a huge move from New Zealand to Puerto Vallarta, and made a beautiful life for himself. And he's a very top producing agent right now in PV. So if you're looking for somebody, an agent to hook up with, to give you a feel for that market, and what if it's the right place for you, Paul is the guy to do that. So give him a call or go to his website, check it out. We've really enjoyed having you guys here. Remember, this is our new time. Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., the Real Estate Radio Show. In about another 90 to 120 days, we're going to be on the radio again in several different markets. So we're working on that. But right now you can catch us on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook every Thursday at 11:30. And tune in. Obviously you can check us out wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So do that as well. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the Real Estate Radio Show, and have yourself a great weekend coming up.
Thanks for joining us on Real Estate Radio with your host, Larry Shakman, the real estate therapist and top producing broker. Now go to TrustedAgentUSA.com and save thousands when you sell, buy, or invest. Illinois license number 475145795. Tune in next week for the ultimate real estate radio experience.